A mysterious whale just dropped $2.38 million on Pi Network in the last 3 days while everyone else is panic selling. Pi's price fell 2% to 44 cents. But here's what nobody's talking about. This massive buyer accumulated 5.30 million Pi coins during the exact same period retail investors were dumping their bags. You know what this means? Smart money is buying while scared money is running. If you're a Pi pioneer losing hope, this video will show you exactly why whales are loading up right now and what it means for Pi's future. Make sure you follow my Telegram and Facebook pages linked in the description for exclusive Pi Network updates that could change everything. You know what? The information I'm about to reveal explains why this whale buy is just the beginning of something much bigger. Alright, let me tell you what's really going on behind all the price movement we've been seeing. So Pi dropped about 2% recently and slipped below that important 50 cents level, now sitting around $0.446, which is the same level we saw back on July 6th. Now, while most people are looking at this and panicking, I'm seeing something completely different happening here. You know what caught my eye? This looks less like a random market crash and more like someone's deliberately shaking out the weak hands before something big happens. Let me walk you through these numbers because they're actually pretty fascinating. We've got 276 million Pi tokens set to unlock on July 15th, and that's on top of the 263 million that were released in June. So we're talking about nearly 540 million tokens flooding the market in just 2 months. Now I know what you're thinking, that sounds terrible, right? But here's the thing that most people don't realize. You know what happened to Bitcoin when it went through similar supply increases in its early days? It actually set the stage for some of its biggest price explosions. Looking at the technical side, Pi's currently trading at $0.4433, down about 4.4% in the last day. The RSI is sitting at 34, which is actually a huge improvement from the oversold reading of 23 we saw earlier. You know what this tells me? The selling pressure is finally starting to cool off, and we might be getting close to a turning point. Yeah, the MACD is still showing some bearish momentum with those red bars, but honestly, some of the best buying opportunities I've seen in crypto happened when everyone else was selling and the indicators looked scary. Now here's what's really got me thinking differently about all this. Exchange balances have jumped to over 370 million Pi, which typically means people are preparing to sell. On the surface, that sounds pretty bad, right? But you know what I've learned from years of watching crypto markets? When exchange balances get this high, it usually means we're approaching a local bottom, and that's exactly when the smart money starts quietly accumulating. It's like they're waiting for everyone else to panic sell so they can scoop up the bargains. And speaking of smart money, let's talk about this whale that's got everyone talking. So while most of us regular investors have been watching Pi drop and feeling pretty nervous about it, this massive buyer quietly accumulated 5.30 million Pi coins worth about $2.38 million over just 3 days. You know what this reminds me of? It's like those stories you hear about early Ethereum investors who were buying when everyone else was too scared to touch it. This isn't just someone throwing money around randomly. This feels like strategic accumulation from someone who knows something we don't, or at least someone who's playing the long game while everyone else is focused on daily price swings. What's really interesting about the timing here is that we're still waiting for major exchange listings. Remember how analysts were saying Pi could see a massive breakout after getting listed on Binance? Well, that hasn't happened yet. You know what this tells me? We're probably still in the very early stages of Pi's price discovery journey. And when those big exchange listings finally start rolling in, we could see some pretty wild price movements that make today's levels look like ancient history. Now, let me break down the key price levels that every Pi holder should keep an eye on. Right now, Pi needs to get back above $0.473 to signal that maybe we're turning the corner. You know what happens if we manage to break above that level? We'd have a pretty clear path back to 50 cents and potentially higher. But if we can't hold the current support around $0.446, the next place we might find some buying interest is around 40 cents. That's where we were back on June 13th, and honestly, that level held pretty well back then. But here's what's keeping me optimistic about Pi's long-term potential, even with all this short-term volatility. The fundamental story hasn't changed at all. I've been looking at some price prediction models, and they're suggesting Pi could potentially hit $2.08 by May 2025, which would be about a 228% increase from current levels. Now, I'm not saying that's guaranteed or anything, but you know what these kinds of projections tell me? Even conservative estimates are painting a picture of significant upside potential for people who can handle the current bumpy ride. The overall market sentiment right now is actually pretty interesting. The Fear and Greed Index is showing 39, which puts us in fear territory. Now, most people would look at that and think it's bad news, but you know what experienced investors have learned over the years? Some of the best opportunities in crypto have come when fear was at its peak and everyone else was selling. It's like that old saying, be greedy when others are fearful. And right now, there's definitely a lot of fear in the air around Pi. Here's something that might surprise you. There's been talk of a $14 million whale buy on OKX for Pi Network, with some analysts comparing the current setup to Bitcoin's early days in 2011, 2013, and predicting a possible breakout to $1 as demand rises. While over 300 million Pi tokens are entering circulation this July, putting short-term pressure on the price, this surge in supply might actually be setting the stage for a strong rebound. Just like past crypto cycles, when these supply shocks settle, prices often jump sharply as demand kicks in. This could be the kind of early opportunity that long-term investors dream about. So here's my take on everything we're seeing with Pi Network right now. Yeah, it's been tough watching the price struggle, and I totally understand why some of you might be feeling discouraged. The July token unlock and all this exchange pressure is definitely real, and it's affecting the price in the short term. But while people like us are here worrying about daily price movements, smart money is quietly positioning itself for what could be Pi Network's most significant price movement ever. You know what separates the people who actually make money in crypto from everyone else? They buy when others are selling, and they hold when others are panicking. This $2.38 million whale purchase isn't just some random news story. It's a signal that someone with serious money sees value exactly where most retail investors are seeing nothing but problems. Whether Pi manages to break above $0.473 for a rally back to 50 cents, or whether we end up testing that 40-cent support level, one thing is pretty clear to me: we're at a turning point that could define Pi Network's entire future price story. If this video helped you see Pi Network's situation in a different light, please hit that like button and let me know in the comments what you think Pi's price will be by the end of 2025. I genuinely want to hear your thoughts on this. And definitely subscribe with notifications turned on, because honestly, the next few weeks could bring some game-changing news for Pi Network holders. Don't forget to check out my Telegram and Facebook pages for those exclusive updates and real-time insights that could make all the difference. You know what? The biggest gains in crypto history have always gone to the people who held strong during the scariest, most uncertain times. The question is, are you going to be one of them? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.